I think we can start. Okay. Okay, so welcome to the beginner JavaScript workshop. This is just beginner JavaScript, and it's only for 1 hour, so we're probably not going to cover advanced topics, and this is a pretty condensed lesson. It's only the basics. So yeah, these are the rules. Be respectful, politeful, do not spam. You can raise your hand if you have a question. If you come in late, we might put you in a breakout room. Please answer any questions in the chat. Give your attention to me, and please don't get distracted. Don't interrupt someone else, and please wait patiently while we answer your questions, and have a good time. So yes, now we're going to go over some reasons that JavaScript is good to learn. It's a general purpose coding language, so it can be used for a lot of things, right? Like for different types of programming and software development. People have used it started off as a web development language, but it's been used for many other things now. Like Discord bots is one example. Yeah. And yes, it's the only language. It's the only language for websites. So yeah, you should probably learn. Yeah. So make sure to ask questions. If you don't understand like the basic concepts, then it's going to be really hard for you to do the rest. And yeah, so we'll give you a time to make programs, and yeah, you should be messing around with the code, changing some values, and seeing how it works. So let's start off with output, right? So you can log input to the console by using console.log. You can use console.log with text to output text. So yeah, we're gonna start off like extremely simple. So if you already have a background in coding, you may know how like most of it works. So just bear with us for now. Yeah, so we'll go over to REPL.it, right? So index.js, this is our main file, and the code in this file is ran when the program is started, right? So then if you can see here, it says console, then node. This is just a version of Node.js, which is running our program. So this is just a version of, yes, it's just a version of the JavaScript, of Node.js, right? Okay, so if we type something in here, right? So like you said, right? You can use console.log text to output text. So it's really quite simple, right? One second. Right, yeah, it's because I copy pasted from this font. So anyway, so right, so console.log and then text. So when we run this, we have to wait and see. Look, text appears in the console. You can hit Control-C to exit the REPL. Right. Oh yeah. So index.js is also on this side in the files. Right. So now we know how console.log works. You know the basics. Yeah, it's also helpful for debugging, right? If you have a ton of because yeah, you'll notice, you'll find out later, but it is helpful for debugging. So yeah, so basic concepts. A JavaScript program is composed of statements, loops, and conditionals, and more. So any statement is an instruction. So if we go back to the REPL, remember console.log text? Yeah, that was an instruction which tells the script to which tells it to log text to the console, right? So yeah, that was an example of a statement. And okay, so after every instruction, you want a semicolon, right? So if I do this, it would work. Yeah, but remember how before I didn't actually have a semicolon here? That's because in JavaScript, it automatically assumes that after every new line, there's going to be like a semicolon there. I mean, for some cases, right? So if you want, let's say we had another statement, right? Console.log, let's change this to hello. Change this to world, right? Oopsie. Okay, I cannot type right now, but okay. There we go. Right? So if we do this, right? That's because it logs both of these, right? It kind of makes sense, right? So if we put semicolons after each of these, this is kind of what the compiler sees, because it adds a semicolon after everything, right? After every new line. So yeah, that works. And then if you want to put on the same line, you can also do that, right? So this semicolon, remember, it tells it that, oh, these two statements are different from each other. If we remove this, see, look, oh yeah, no, you see, we get an error, which it says like, actually you can't see it. See, it says there's a it says a semicolon is expected, right? So if we try to run this, do an error, right? It doesn't understand it, right? So now you know that how semicolons work. It's like I said, semicolons are not necessarily everywhere, but also like in other languages like C++ and C, you need one after every line. So you might as well just do it, just keep it as a habit, because in other languages it's helpful. And yeah, they're executed in order from top to bottom. Yeah, you will learn later that there are some asynchronous functions. Like, actually, no, I'm not going to demonstrate it. But so those execute like, so you can continue on and like while that statement is executing. But for the most part, it's top to bottom. And then see, look, comments can be made with double slashes, right? And then they don't affect the code, so it's pretty simple, right? So yeah, you can see it gets grayed out automatically. That's because of the IDE I'm in, which is REPL.it. This is really good for beginners, right? So yeah, so if we put we can put anything we want after the double slashes, and it won't do anything to the code. We can also make comments with a different method, which is like this. Oops, there we go, like this. And then see, now this is multi-line, so all of this, none of this affects the code, right? You can also put this like, so yeah, that's another way of doing comments. Now we go on to data types. So a data type is just a way of storing data. We're going to cover the primitive data types. Primitive, it's called primitive because they're like simple ones. There are also like harder ones like objects, arrays, maps, right? But these are just the simple ones. So first of all, we have a Boolean, which is a data type that can only hold true or false, right? And oh yeah, so yeah, you don't have to declare a data type, a variable with a data type in JavaScript. In a lot of other languages you do, right? So number, it's quite simple. It's a common data type. It can hold large amounts of values, and they can also be decimals. In other languages, you have to separate them from floats and integers, but that's not the same here. And string, it's a common data type that holds string of characters. A big int can hold extremely large values, so you probably won't need to use these, except for like rare cases. So for demonstrations of all of these, so this would be a Boolean. It's just, remember, it's just true or false, and then a number, just any number, 51, yeah, 151, and you can also make it decimal if you wanted. That's a number, and then string. So we have these like, we have double quotes around them. So, and then that would be a string because it's a string of characters, right? You can also make them into single quotes if you prefer, but yeah. And then a big int is just, yeah, I don't even need a demonstration. It's just really large values. You can Google the limits for all of these if you want. Right? Yeah, they require quotes. And then variables. So there are a few different ways. Oh, I forgot that we didn't actually go through what variables actually are. So variables are just like containers. Think of them like a box, and you can store whatever you want in the box. Okay. So let's copy all of this. Actually, no, let's copy all of this actually. So these are three ways of declaring a variable, just like a box, right? They can be outputted with console.log, and var is the main way of declaring them, right? Let's go with this. So let's make these different because we can't have boxes with the same name, right? Or variables with the same name, right? So if we go back to the boxes, right, we can see that the box, it's a box with the name X, and inside the box is a number called 5, okay? And then this is another type of one. This is another type of box, Y and 2, and Z and 4, right? So these all store numbers, which are data types like before. You want to for that? So now, so you might have noticed that we have var, const, and let. So in JavaScript, there are three different types of ways of declaring them. So var x, right? Var is the normal way, or it's the best way, I guess, to declare it. I mean, it depends on your use case, but obviously, but like, anyways. So, right, so console.log x. If we log it to the console, see, we get 5. It's pretty simple. The way it works, so yeah. So the difference between the other types of, so if we have like a code block here, we'll go over that later, but you see, if we go like this, it still knows what it is, even in this code block, okay?
Winnie,
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to disturb, but somebody asked a question in the chat. Could you answer?
Oh, sorry, I don't have the chat open. My bad. Let me go to the chat. Yeah, so somebody asked what IDE am I currently using? I'm using REPL.it, but usually I like to use VS Code, but it's all up to you. And web development, I'm not actually doing web development right now, but like clean good code. Oh yeah, you're right. Yes, yeah. So there are good practices with like making your code readable. Because remember how I said you can put everything on one line? You don't want to have everything like you don't want to put every single thing on the same line because that would just stretch out forever. So yeah, there are practices, but we won't get into that. We'll just say like for now, we'll just go over the best ways, like the cleanest code when we make a when we go over other things like for loops, etc. Right? Yeah, and oh yeah, you can see that there's spaces and stuff. Actually, no, you need a space there, but there's spaces over here. You don't actually need these, but they're just there to make the code easier to read, right? Like you can take them out if you wanted, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Oh, also, speaking of spaces, you can make space put space between anything really. You can make tons of spaces. The compiler doesn't really care, but you can't do something like var x that will not work. Okay, yeah, I hope that helped you. So, like I said, back to the difference. So var x, right? So it works even through code blocks, but if we place it with const, actually, yeah, see, x is not defined because const it only to the compiler it only exists in this code block. So if we put const x here, no, let's comment this out. Oh yeah, so also in REPL.it you can do control and then slash, and then that just comments out the lines. Right? You can just it's just helpful. Now still, so yeah, if we move it there and it doesn't give you an error. And there's another question. Do you have any recommendation? I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm using JavaScript for my project as well. So do you want to be more specific? Like, do you want recommendation on like the platform? I mean the IDE or what? Do you just yeah. Actually, okay, I'll continue with the lesson too. Once you reply, I'll go back to you, right? But okay, let's take out these code blocks. Okay, so now we've established that const only works inside the code block, right? There's another type of so yeah, like we saw here, there's also let. Let is the same thing, only works inside the code block. However, the difference between let and const is that you can redeclare a let variable. So if you go like x equals 6, right? And you can also do this with var, by the way. A REPL is slow sometimes. See, so 6, right? We go like this, var. See, same thing. But if we do const, see, assignment to a constant variable. So it's constant. It never changes from this. This is helpful if you want to like clean up your code. If you want to make sure that you don't accidentally redeclare something. Okay, so yeah, if you don't want to redeclare something, it's pretty helpful. So there's another question in chat. Yeah, comments are allowed. It's not necessary, but if you want to practice good coding practices, you should put comments so other people can read it, you know? It's also helpful for debugging. You can be like, oh, what is this code? I have no idea what it does, right? So yeah. So yeah, now we went over that. So now let's do some exercises. Let's open up REPL and then try to do these, right? So we already yeah, so we went over how to declare variables. So and then declare an integer, yeah, and then output to constant. Okay, so these are pretty easy ones. You want to over these? I'll give you a few minutes to do these. Okay, so that should have been enough time. If you need help with that, or yeah, Boolean button. Okay, so yeah, so it's with value 2, right? And that isn't actually how we did it. Remember, we don't have to okay, yeah, so look, so I think, yeah, I think you know C++ or um or C, right? So like I said, remember the boxes, we didn't actually put the data type. If we went here, we also said that we don't have to declare the variable with the data type. We just declare the variable with var, const, or let, right? So it's a lot easier than you think, right? With value 2. So if you do var bool, yeah, there we go. Now you got it. Also, okay, so true doesn't work. It will give us an error because it needs to be lowercase. Remember we went over that? I mean, I didn't go over that, my bad. But it's a lot of things are cap sensitive, okay? Yeah, like if we go bool and then try to oh, see, look, it says it's not defined because this actually has caps. Yeah, var values equals false. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but like I said, yeah, see, we can't have this in caps. We have to have this in lowercase. You can open up REPL or some other IDE and test out for yourself. So yeah, this is the right value. This is the right answer to the exercise. It's a Boolean, right? And then declare an integer. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you got it. It's yeah. So you don't say var and then the data type. Remember, we don't care about the data type. We just do var x equals to 5. Yep. Good job. Oh yeah, and then I'll put it to constant. That's very easy, right? Yeah. I mean, not 5. I mean that work. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got it. Yeah. And then let's go on to the next bit. So operations. So if you want to add things to each other, right? You can. Oh, you have a hand up. Yeah. You have any question? Okay. If you have any questions, just write in the chat. I don't know why you raise your hand. Um. Okay. So in JavaScript, you can do operations on multiple variables or values. So this is all the things, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, really quite simple. Just put it between them, right? You know, star f5, 6. Yeah, 6 works. Console 6 times x, right? It's quite simple. 36. Print out both values. Oh, print out like 2 values. Yeah, you can do that. You can do var y equals to 5. So then we can do like x comma y. And then the comma automatically puts a space. So yeah, we can also replace this with like a string. Yeah, that works. That works. See, it automatically puts a space in. Yeah, so that's if you want to output multiple at the same time. And then next on, so yeah, so addition, subtraction, multiplication, exponentiation. No, it's quite simple. Just put 2. See, and then yeah, we have a gigantic number, obviously. Oops. Division. So division, it's not going to be like perfect division, right? Because it's if let's do like 1/7. So that's not going to be a clean number, right? Right. So it's not going to be like 100% accurate, but yeah. Even if they're from different types, that will work, right? Like this, right? Still works. Actually, if you want to do variables, right? Or x equals to 1. You can, yeah, yes, you can concatenate strings as well. Yeah, yeah, you can concatenate strings actually, and I'm pretty sure you can multiply them. I haven't actually tested this, but yeah, I think it works. We can never mind. Yeah, never mind. So it takes them as numbers, but if you want to concatenate them, that should work. You see, yeah, you can concatenate them with plus, yes. Right? So division modulus, you find the remainder instead of taking you find the remainder, and then increment and decrement. So this you don't actually need, like, so if we have bar x equal to 6, right? You don't need anything else. You just go x plus plus. That's it, and then you get console log x. We will get 7, right? And minus minus also works. And then there's another trick that we have here. Minus equals 1. Minus equals 2. What do you think this will do? Chat. What? Yep. You're right. X equals to 4. And then you can do plus equals, multiplication equals. It's just shorthand, right? This would also equal x times 2, but it's just faster to write it like this, There's also other ones, but we won't get into that. Yes, you can use that. You can use 0 or 1 in the Boolean declaration if you want. Actually, no, you can't, because it'll declare as a number, right? But no, yeah, it'll declare as a number. So var x right now is a number, and let's do var y equals 0, right? So these are both numbers. They're not actually booleans, but later we'll find. So if you know about if statements already, you don't have to know about this, but I'm just saying. So if x, right? Console log a, right? So if you do it if you put in an if statement, it'll automatically make it into a boolean. So then that would happen. So a if y, and then see, like, nothing gets outputted. So yeah, so you can't. It's not going to be stored as a boolean, but it can be used as a boolean if that's what you're wondering. So yeah, so yeah, you can just do var. You can declare it like this. And yeah, so conditions, yeah, so a condition, yeah, so booleans are a data type that only stores true or false. You can set a condition with something like x is more than y. This returns a boolean which is either true or false, depending on whether x is greater than y. You can, yeah, there's less than equals to, greater than equal to, right? And then there's or and gates as well. And you can compare if they're equal, you can compare if they're not equal, compare if they're equal across data types as well. Now we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. And not equals is not equal to, right? And this is or, this is and this is not, right? So let's do, okay, so yeah, we haven't gone to if statements yet, so let's just do this. Yeah, okay, I'll go to that. That's a JavaScript, that's only for JavaScript, okay? Don't try to use that in other languages, you'll just get an error. So yeah, so this is all pretty easy, right? One is more than 2. This is obviously false, and we'll get false, right? And you can use all these in if statements, which we'll go over later. And yeah, so if we had OR gates, right? So this is an OR gate. 1 is more than 2, or 3 is more than 4 is more than 3, right? Right, so false. Oh, true, yeah, it's just loading. So yeah, so this is false, but then this value is true, and either one of them can satisfy the condition, so it becomes true. And it's all pretty simple for you guys, I think. False, right? Yeah, they're both one of them is false and one of them is true. So, and they both need to be false, and they both need to be true. Sorry, and not, so that just inverses the thing. I don't think we even need to demonstrate it. So now let's go over to triple equals, right? So if you want to do let's do var x is equal to true, var y is equal to 1, right? So if we do console.log x is equal to y, right? This will actually return true because it makes this into a boolean. Okay, that's called casting, right? So this becomes a boolean and that becomes true. and then they're both equal. That happens when you do equals equals, right? But if we do triple equals, right? Triple equals, then that makes it that'll check if the types are the same too. So this will actually return false because this is a boolean and this is a number. Okay, hope that answered your question. We can also do not equals equals, right? This checks for type as well, and this one wouldn't check for type. And this is just the opposite of equal, so not equal. Right? Yeah. So yeah, now we go into if statements. So if you can check if a condition is true with an if statement, right? Let's just do a small demonstration. If condition. So if 1 is equal to 1, I really wonder what that will be, guys. But yeah, okay. Take this out and then console log. Right? This is just a demonstration. ABC works like a charm, right? So it just checks if the condition is true, and then it does the code block. Then we can also connect this with an else statement, right? So let's add these in. I was gonna put that in quotes, but I realized we don't need to because it's a boolean. It's cool, I guess. Now also you realize when I copy pasted things in here, right? The indenting got a little bit messed up, right? See, this is 1 space and this is 2 space. So what you want to do, I'm not gonna tell you how many spaces to have or indents or spaces or tabs, right? But you want to keep it the same, okay? Don't make like this one have 1 space. It will work, but it won't be as clear, okay? Because in complex code it'll just get really messy, right? And now, oops, I forgot to do this. 1 is equal to 2. Oh, 1 is equal to 2, right? And false, right? So console.log this, which is the else statement. So yeah, it just checks if it's false. Then basic operators. Oh, I think we kind of just left it in. Oops, sorry guys. Anyways, so print the result. So this one I'll give you a little bit of time on because it's slightly harder. So print the result of 2 to the power of 5. Don't just hard code it. Don't go like, oh guys, 2 to the power of 5 is 32. Whoa, console.log 32. Don't do that, okay? Actually make your program calculate it. And same for this one. Try doing it. Tell me if you need help on any of them. I'll give you a bit of time. Oh yeah, if you want to go look at this one again, these are all the operations. If you don't know how to do it, don't just remain silent, just ask me. Okay. I think that's been enough time, right? So yeah, so you got Gia, you got the first one right. You didn't type the second one, but yeah, that's right. That would output the yes. If you don't know what she said you can look in chat, but this is what she said, right? 2 to the power of 5. That's just the exponential operator. Pretty simple. And 125 mod 20. So console 20, right? And it's pretty simple. This will output 5. Remainder. Yep, there you go. You got it. Nice. Then let's go into objects. Okay. Objects are a bit difficult. Okay. So objects have properties and methods. Right. So yeah, so let's make an analogy to a car. There's a name, a weight, a color, a model. These are all properties of the car. Okay. There's methods you can do to the car, like stopping it, starting it, stopping it. We have to go with functions. Yeah, we do. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so this, I think we probably should have made this farther ahead, but Anyways, right? So as different methods and properties, right? So what we're gonna so objects are a data type, so they can be a variable, right? So const car is equal to type fiat model 500 color white, right? And then so we can do so that'll declare a car with these properties, right? And then car, and then right. So that really doesn't help us that much if we can't access the properties, right? So what we want to do, we can access the properties with dot property name, right? Object name dot property name. So if we wanted to do this, we'd make it car dot type, or and you can also do this object and then put brackets and then type, right? And then we can do console.log car.type, right? And this will give us fiat, right? So yeah, you can access it like that. And then you can also do something like car type is equal to say Pontiac, right? I think that's that's car brand, right? Yeah. And then car. So we console.log it. Oops. Car.type. Oh yeah. Remember we had to put parentheses around it. I mean not parentheses, sorry, quotes. Right? So you can also just log the whole car thing if you want to. Right? So type Pontiac model 500 color white. We just edit it there. Yeah, so if you notice it's const, but we can still edit it. Because you can change the properties of it. But you can't just do like const car is something completely different. It's kind of quirky, but that's JavaScript for you. So remember how strings are a data type? So there's some things that you can do with strings. Oh yeah, also objects probably aren't very helpful for you right now, but they'll be helpful for you in the future. Yeah, so double quotes, single quotes, we already went over that, and you can use quotes and strings as long as they aren't like the ones around them, right? Let's do log. I'm going to restore, right? So even though there's a quote in there, the ones surrounding it are different types, so it's okay, right? And let's say you really wanted it, you really wanted this one here. See, look, it makes everything an error because it thinks the string stops here and then it starts again here. If you really wanted that, we just put a backslash. That's called an escape character, and it makes it probably think, oh, okay, we can ignore this. Like, it's not an actual quote, right? It's not actually starting the string, and it works fine. I mean, it's not proper grammar, so, but that's a different problem, right? And that works for everything. We can do this too. We can escape a quotes. So look, we can escape the single quotes, and yeah, you can also escape an escape character if you wanted to type a backslash, but yeah. Then continue with strings. You can find the length of a string, string.length. It's pretty simple, right? We have a string called string, we do string.length, right? And then that'll just give you the amount of characters in the string. Okay, oh yeah, like we said, escape characters. You escape the escape character, like I said. You can use /n for new lines. And oh yeah, so this is also a nice one. My var is equal to hello world, right? So we can just put slash here if we want the string to continue. Oh, I didn't actually output anything, so it's not going to do much. But yeah, so that would declare my var to be hello world with a new line, right? And /n also works. So if you don't want this, you can just do /n, right? That works too. Actually, let's console.log to see how it looks. And look, hello world. Oh yeah, and there's also a space. We put a space after that, which is why it's off. You can remove it if you wanted to. And strings can be declared as objects, but nobody really cares. It's fine. It's not very helpful. And oh, okay, this is good. So you can use many methods. Like I'm not going to go over all them because you can pretty much just Google them. Yeah, you can just Google anything, honestly. Google is a very helpful resource from coding. And so index of, last index of starts with, so this would return true if it starts with something and it's with something, right? And yeah, you put like maybe I should be editing it, but you put like a, then it'll return true if it starts with a, etc. Right? And then backtick syntax. These are called template literals. Okay, so it just looks the same, right? But it's like, oh, you're just using a different type of quote. What's the difference? But if we do this, right? So this is actually pretty helpful. These are just better ways. This is just a better string. The only reason you use different ones is habit, I guess. But yeah, so you can just put as many entries as you want, right? And oh wait, I didn't actually output it. So yeah, see, all the entries get put in. If you wanted to do that, you with the other ones, you have to put slashes after every single one, which isn't the best, right? And then also you can do myvar to insert it directly into the template literal. You can easily, yeah, you can also use multi-line, like I said. So if we have a var y is equal to 6, we could do hello world. Yeah, you can see it's not like orange like the other ones, right? So that's just a way of the IDE letting you know how it is, right? So hello6 world, you can insert it directly in. That's pretty helpful. Oh yeah, someone else was asking about how you put out both values, right? So this is one way to do it. Yeah, you know. Okay, so declare an object with 3 parameters, type, color, and amount, and declare a template literal with the variable operation inserted inside it. Remember operations like addition, subtraction, right? I mean, you already know that, but yeah. So I'll give you a bit of time to do this. Yeah, if you guys need help, make sure to ask questions. Okay, I hope you guys are finished. I'm gonna go over the solutions now. If you guys, yeah, I hope you guys got it. So object 3 parameters, const. Let's not use a car. Let's go plain. Okay. So remember this. Okay, shape is equal to yeah, if we go back, we have the syntax right here. Yep. Oh, actually, I made a mistake of the syntax. My bad, guys. Do this, right? Shape, and then let's do plain. Why not? Right? And then what else? Speed 500 miles per hour. No. And 3 param. Oh, actually, never mind. My bad. It's type, color, and amount, right? So I shouldn't be doing that. Color, red, and amount 300, right? I mean, actually, since this is a number, we should probably do that, right? So yeah, that's just a declaration for that. Pretty simple. And declare a template literal and variable operation insert inside of it, right? So this one isn't too hard. Remember, we had this. Hello world. Then we had a variable. We want a variable operation, right? So, and we want to insert it in. So let's do something like this. And r x 6, y 7, right? And then just do any operation. Y minus x. Okay. Good. So, oh, I did not put it. Right. So, like you can see, it operates 7 minus 6, 1. Puts it right inside of it. Yeah, so that's pretty helpful. And then, so now let's go into loops. So while condition, so it runs while the condition is true. Okay. So let's do, oh, okay, well, you guys will love this example. Console.log text while true. So this is always going to be true, right? It's always going to be true. So text, it just keeps outputting it. It's a way to do that, right? Okay, so I exited it, right? So you can also do something like var I is less. No, I'm declaring it, my bad. So I is less than 6, right? Var I is equal to 0. This is also yeah, okay. Then I plus plus, right? So it just keeps incrementing it. No, I'll put it wrong here. While I is less than 0, 6, right? Does it 6 times, right? And this is also this leads into our next thing, which is a for loop. But we'll go into that, right? That's just an easy way to do something. That's like a simplified version of putting all of this in. Remember all that stuff with I. Oh yeah, and I doesn't matter. That's just a random one. Right? So here we go. So this is a little bit more complicated. So yeah, what if you want to track how many times the loop has repeated so far? We could, so like we did before, we could set it to 0 and increment it every time. And there's a for loop. It just does that automatically. So first you let's go like this, right? Initializing condition increment. Okay. First you initialize it with int I is equal to 0. The loop runs until the condition is not true. So if you want it, so you do less than or equal to 5 or less than 6, that works too. And then you increment it at the end, so it goes up with I plus plus. So let's put that all in. Let's copy paste this. And I plus plus. Oh, not, oh, my bad, guys. Sorry. It should be var I to use C++. Or let I, that also works. Just don't do const I, that would be a bad thing. Right, so let's also let's track console, let's track I, just console.log it every time. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Goes from 0 to 5. So remember we had I plus plus, we had var I is equal to 0, and we had I is less than 6. Remember that? So you just condensed everything into that. And also another perk, even this is var. Oopsie. Even this is var, you can do console.log I, or we can't do console.log I, but if we do console.log I, wait. Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, so if we do console.log I, it'll do that, and then it'll say I is defined. So usually I like to use let because we don't want random variables called I. That's just what I like to do. It just helps it be cleaner. And yeah, you can mess around with all of these. So remember, it's not only like from 0 to something, or not like it doesn't have to be counting up. You could do something like plus equals 2 if you wanted, right? Because that wouldn't really change anything. It's just going up, right? Just like this, right? And then condition, it could be. It doesn't even have to be I is less than number. It doesn't have to be I is less than 40. It can be like I is more than 10, something like that. I don't know. You can make it go backwards if you want. You can even do true, like last time, and then we'll have something like this. Great, right? And yeah, this is just the initializing. So yeah, there's nothing you can really do there. But yeah. So now with the loop operations, let's go into while. Let's go into a while true loop. So this will go forever, which is great. Actually, no, let's not do that. Or I equals 0, I is less than 20, I plus plus. And then, so the loop operations, the syntax is simple, break, it just breaks the loop, okay? So if I is equal to, oh, we'll do triple equals. So yeah, as a habit, you might want to do triple equals instead of doing double equals, because sometimes it can lead to some unexpected things happening. It's just, yeah. So break, right? So what do you think will happen? We should console.log I every moment just to track it, right? So what do you think will happen? It goes all the way up to 9, and then, oh yeah, if yeah, it goes all the way up to 9 and then stops because it got broken. And then, yeah, it just stops. The for loop doesn't continue. So if you notice, we actually put it above the console.log statement, right? So when I is equal to 10, right? So actually, let's go from I is equal to 9. So it goes through this without any problems. It logs I, 9, and then it goes all the way back up. It changes itself to 10, and then I is equal to 10, so it breaks, and then it doesn't actually log I, which is why we don't go to 10. If we move this above it, we would get 10 as well, right? Then continue. It stops one iteration and then continues. So we go like this. Should see skips over 10. Not as useful, but still there. Yeah, you can use these as to jump out of any code block with the label name. That's, you can Google that for more information. It's not very useful. So complex. So there are other data types. There's a data type. We're not going to go over that because it's not very useful. But if you guys really need it, you can search it up. It's pretty helpful. It has like time zones and all that. So arrays is like a list of values, right? So var name. So that's just the name, right? And then element 1, comma element 2, comma element 3, right? So yeah, you can make arrays of other any data type. You can use arrays with other data types like objects and stuff, right? So that's pretty helpful. So let's just yeah, so let's just like this is pretty easy for you guys, I think, but let's just go like this. I mean, if it's not easy for you guys, you have to let me know, right? So like this. Yes, okay, so someone asked me, when do you capitalize variable names? So actually, right, so you don't have to capitalize any variable names. Yeah, okay, yeah, this workshop might run late. We didn't go over all the slides, and didn't some time. I might have gone a little bit slow. So we don't capitalize. So for variable names, you don't capitalize them if they're like one word. But if you want to make another word, you could just do like name type, right? You capitalize this just to show just to show that this is another word. This is just a convention. You can do whatever you want. You can put an underscore instead if you want, if you like. That's up to you. But I like to follow the convention, right? So let's do this. 3, 5, right? So name type. Okay. Right. So it logs all this. So it's an array. If you want to access an element, we go put this and do this. And it'll access the second element. Okay. Notice the second element, not the first element, because it logs. So the way it works is it'll think, I mean, yeah, the computer thinks that this is a 0, this is the first, this is the second. That's just how it's stored in the computer's brain, you might say. So that's why that works like that. And then, yeah, so maps, sets, and weak types. This is all pretty advanced, so we're probably not going to go over this. I mean, no, we won't go over it, sorry. And print out the number from 1 to 10 using a for loop. Using a loop inside another for loop, log each iterator variables and see what happens. Okay, actually, that's not. Yeah, okay, that's fine, right? You guys can do this for a bit. Oh, oops. Okay. Yeah, okay, guys. So some people just joined, so we're doing JavaScript exercises. It might be a little bit hard for you to catch up. It might be a little hard for you to catch up, but yeah, it might be a little hard for you to catch up, but just try to stay along. Yeah. The recordings, yeah, we can give you the slides right now if you guys ask. Okay, so I think that's been enough time for you guys. As always, if you guys need more time, just let me know. So 1 to 10 from the for loop. Let I equals 0, I less than 11, right? I plus plus. If you guys don't know why I did 11, it's because yeah, because I is less than 10. It'll stop too soon. It goes all the way up to 10. Yep. Oh, it says 1 to 10, right? So we should probably set that to 1. Yep, there we go. And using for loop. Okay, so this one's a little bit harder. So let's do to 5, and then let's do this again. Okay. So here, this, then we'll change the variable name. Let's do J, right? I comment actually. Let's do that. There we go. And now you can see. So if we observe, right? So 1. So let's go through it. Yeah. So you can see how it works here. Let's go through this, right? Let's go from the perspective of the computer running the code. So we're at 1. Oh, I is equal to 1, right? So I is equal to 1. Then we start this for loop. And then J goes from 1 to 5. So we can see it. So I is 1 the whole time. I mean, J goes to 1 to 4, sorry. And J goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it hits 5. So then this for loop ends. We get to the end of this. Then we go all the way back up. 2, 1. So and then, yeah, we can continue going on. Becomes this. Oh, let's go scroll up a bit. So yeah, that's pretty helpful. This is called nesting for loops. Okay. So yeah, this is nice because you can yeah, it's just helpful because there's just like you can use it for a to find everything in a grid, something like that. You can loop through all the rows and columns. No. Okay. Yeah. Make sure to attend the C++ workshop as well if you guys are interested. And yeah. And yeah, so this is how. So yeah, it's good for like rows and columns, right? So yeah, observe what happens. Yeah. So arrays. So yeah, so remember we went over arrays. Yeah, the session isn't over, guys. Just so, but if you need to go, you can go. Right? Yeah, it's still quite a lot, so we might have to end early. Well, we're probably gonna end at 2:30, I think. Yeah, delayed by half an hour or so. So yeah. So we learned the syntax of declaring arrays, and yeah, we already went over this, right? Oh yeah, you can also put just entries in here if you want to make it more clean, right? If there's like really large strings here or objects or something. And then you can access them with my list of X or whatever name, and you can change them, right? We already went over that. Arrays. So these are all methods of arrays. Yeah. So array length and sort. This just finds the length. This just sorts, and then array.pop removes the last value. You can set a value to this and pops it into it, right? So it pops the last value of the list into X, right? If you guys don't understand what I mean by that, I'll give you guys an example. So actually, I'll just explain, right? So if you have 1 to 3, so we have 1, 2, 3. So this one gets popped out. So this is the array now, and X becomes equal to 3, right? It pops it into that. Yeah, makes sense. Array.push. So it pushes it from the front, right? So it pushes it into the front of the array, right? And it also returns the new length of the array. And shift and unshift, they both shift over the array. You can Google this. Yeah, okay, yeah. By the way, the C++ lesson is still at 3. And so you can merge a list with concat, which is short for concatenation. And splice, you can add elements in the middle of the array. And slicing, which it's not the same. and it ruins, you can slice the array like in half or in parts, you know. So this is all yeah, these are all functions. You can Google them and mess around with them if you need to, and you can ask me if you need the help with them. Then JavaScript math, okay, negative indexing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah, it is allowed. Let's give you an example. One. So by negative indexing, it's wait. I'm gonna put in quotes. My bad. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Console.log. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to put semicolon. I've gotten used to JavaScript now, so I don't really put semicolons that much. But so -1 will give you no. Oh, I actually thought okay. Guess I've been doing too many other languages now. It doesn't actually work. Okay, so yeah, in other languages it will go from the back sometimes, but not in JavaScript. Sorry. But so yeah, a regular indexing is still allowed, still works. Alright, so these are all math functions. You can go over all of this. I mean, not functions, these are all math values, math constants, right? These are all pretty helpful. Right? Math.round, math.ceiling, math.floor, math.truncate. These are all ways of changing decimals into numbers. You know how to round, you know, ceiling makes go up, floor goes down, and truncate just takes it all out, right? And yeah, so yeah, there are tons of methods, so I can't go over all of them. So if you really need them, just search them out. Yeah, Google, like I said, Google is a helpful resource. And then so functions are ways of shortening code, right? So a function called my function, P1 and P2 are parameters. That's uncapitalized. This makes more sense, right? Those are parameters passed in the function, and then it returns P1 multiplied by P2. P1 and P2 can only be accessed inside the function, right? So let's go over some of this, right? So console.log my function of 1 comma actually 4 comma 5, right? So this should return 20, right? So the way it works is, so these represent things that you can put into the function, right? Then you can operate them and then return the value that you want to be returned, right? That you want this function to represent. So the so yeah, so we just return the multiplication of the two, right? And yeah, that works. This is a pretty simple one. There are a lot more complex ones, but the use of this is because if you find a file that, I mean, if you find a function or a bit of code that you keep repeating, you can just put it into a function. It's a lot easier, you know. Now let's do column function. You have to output 20. Okay, do you see too much C++? My bad, guys. console.log, right? Sorry, guys. And returning is not the same as printing. This is a common mistake, right? So returning and printing aren't the same. Like we had to console.log it to actually use it, actually log it, right? So if we wanted to, we could do like var x use my function of 1 comma 4 comma 5. This would make it equal to 20, right? But if we wanted to output it directly within the function, like, because this by itself wouldn't really do much, right? But we could do console.log of this, right? Oops, there's a semicolon there. Okay, there we go, right? And then it would do 20, right? Even though like, yeah, even though we didn't actually have to, we actually didn't console.log this, still works, right? But I would recommend using return because sometimes like, it's not always, you don't always want to console.log it, right? Maybe you want to make a variable equal to it or something, right? So it's a common mistake. If a function has no parameters, right? You take out P1 and P2, return 4, right? It'd just be like this, right? Console.log. Right, so then it'd just be like this. You don't put anything inside it. Yeah, you can, yeah, like I said, you can use this to compact and simplify your code. Declare an array with 6 elements and then pop them each with a for loop. And then declare a function which reverses all elements in an array. So yeah, I'll give you guys a bit to do this. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, I'll give you a hint on the challenge. If you guys are doing it, you have to declare a function which takes in an array and then returns array. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, right? It'll return an array. Right? Well, yeah, you guys want to do that. No, my bad. Here. Okay, so I don't think you guys had enough time to do the challenge, but I don't know if many of you guys are doing it. If you guys need more time, just let me know. But I'm gonna start doing the first one. So var r equals 5 on 6 for I let I equals 0. I is less than r dot length. Oh yeah, so someone just entered the meeting. We have already completed like 30 slides, so it might be hard for you to keep up, but yeah, sorry about that. I don't know if you messed up the timings or something, but we've already been here for an hour. Anyways, so r dot pop, right? Oh yeah, you can even see REPL is helping me here. Oh, never mind, but yeah, REPL or your IDE can sometimes, well, it depends on your IDE, but it'll give you some nice hints and tips, or it might you have nice features that you can use. Right, so let's go like this. So 1, 2, 3. Right, okay. Wait. Um, mute. Okay. Sorry, yeah, you might want to keep yourself muted so that it's easier for us to concentrate, right? Oh, okay, so there's a mistake here. See, look, so yeah, you're right. Good job. Yeah. So, like I was gonna go through debugging, right? Like I said, console.log is helpful for debugging. We'll do array.length, right? So what we can do here is we can look through the length, right? We can see, oh wait, it goes down, right? Why does it stop, right? So what we can do is so yeah, good job. That's good. Good job. You would want to do this dot length and put X there, right? So that's why I said console.log is pretty helpful. There's also specific debugging in some IDEs, but you can't really rely because some IDEs don't have it, some do, right? You have to wait for REPL to load. Well, it doesn't seem to be loading. I'll come back to it then. So yeah, there's a function. So yeah, the function that reverses all elements in the array. That's still a challenge. I'm not going to go over it right now because I don't think any of you is doing it. So yeah. Anyways, let me just reload the page. I want to see. Might be a Wi-Fi issue, but yeah, okay. So REPL is not working right now. Unfortunate. We'll see if it works later. So back to data types. It's my Wi-Fi. Yeah, Wi-Fi seems to be fine. Oh, okay, never mind. It did load now. So let's see. Right. So yeah, nothing in the array. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, so now we made it here, and it doesn't keep updating, so it doesn't keep changing. And then back to data types. So the type of operator, right? returns these types, right? And yeah, if you have an array, it's considered an object, and it returns a string. It's the data type of the type of operator returns. It's kind of funny thing to say, but returns a string, and you can use constructors. This is a little bit harder to understand, so it's okay if you guys don't understand what it means. Yeah. So, and yeah, you can empty a variable by setting it to null or like an empty string. It's up to you. So yeah, so type of operator is helpful if you like don't know what something is returning, like an API is returning or something like that. Okay, continuing data types. Number of x converts to numbers, right? So yeah, string x converts to string. And yeah, so these ones, yeah, these are a little more complicated, but they all return strings and they don't convert to different types. And yeah, so there is automatic type conversion, but it doesn't always work. So if you guys don't know how to do, if you guys like don't know how to use it effectively, then you might as well just use the ones that we have here. Oh yeah, I didn't go over this. There's a unary plots operator, which is a shorthand way of doing it. Pretty helpful. Oh yeah, and also x2 string, but it's wait, yeah. So working with arrows, right? So yes, what's the unary thing? Okay, yeah. So unary is just another way of doing numbers, right? So if you look at this example here, like why? So yeah, it just changes it into a number. Yeah, it's just a plus. So it's a shorthand way of doing it. Anyway, so working with errors. So it tries this, right? And then it catches the error if it's an error, right? So yeah, so if we do this, right? So yeah, there's never going to be an error with the console.log statement. Unless it is, yeah, anyways. So no. The font is messing it up. Give me a second. Right? So yeah, so there's no error. So it just tries it and no error, so it just goes on. Let's say if we just did console.log. Sorry, there's an error. Let's put a space here as well to make it more readable. Console is not defined because see, there's no E here, right? So once we replace it, works like a charm, right? This is helpful. Yeah, this is helpful. Just helpful. You know, there's uses for it. And then yeah, so sometimes you want to deliberately throw an error because yeah, so JavaScript sometimes it doesn't throw errors all the time, and like yeah, okay, whatever. So yeah, so you can throw errors deliberately. There are uses for this. You'll find that later when you're coding. But so throws an error, which is a number. Just gonna throw an error. Oh, we did get an error, but I don't think this is the error that I don't think this is the error that I wanted. Type error. Oh, that's wait. Type error. Wait, also by the way, I didn't mention, but you can if you have the try catch statement thing, this is good because it doesn't stop the whole program. I'm like getting an error like this, right? Interesting. So let's just skip over it, but if I'm being stupid and someone in chat knows why I'm messing up, you guys can just tell me. But anyway, so there's also a finally statement, which does something no matter if there's an error or not. Not exactly the most helpful thing, but yeah. And these are all error types. It's yeah, really quite simple. Right? So like range error, by the way, it just means like if you had an array and you tried to access the seventh element when there's only 3 elements, it'll give you an error. Anyways, so check check if using the type of operator on the string there's an error, and if it does, I'll put it to console and try to run AAA and catch the error. I'll put it to console and then throw an error anyways. You should use a finally for this, you don't need to use it, but it will just demonstrate your knowledge, you know? Yeah, so ask me questions if you need to. Okay, welcome guys. Someone else just joined. We've already gone through like 36 slides, so we can't, it's gonna be hard for you to catch up. Oh yeah, if you're wondering why nobody's talking, it's because we're doing an exercise right now. Okay. Um, okay, so I think done here. So check if using type of, so we'll just use a, I'm not gonna go over these ones unless you guys specifically want me to, but so we just use a try catch operate, try catch on a type of a string, and then we'll output it to console. This one will just do try and catch, and then we output, and then we'd use a finally, we put a finally statement and just do throw error. I mean, for some reason it isn't working for me, but anyways. So scope. So global scope. So I think we already went over this, but yeah. So var can be accessed anywhere unless it's declared in the function, right? So letter cons outside. So yeah, they can also be declared anywhere. I was only okay. Never mind. So yeah, block scope. So yeah, and then function scope. Any variables can be only be accessed inside the function. Right. This is all pretty simple, I think. And yeah, we're we're done. But if you guys want to stick around, I'll be showing some projects I've done in JavaScript just to do this. So I'm gonna show a sneak peek of what I've been doing for the hackathon. Actually, no, that's not a good idea because yeah, that's not a good idea. Let's not do that. Right. So yeah, we'll just show project. I haven't been working on that many projects recently, but I have been working on my Minecraft related project. If you guys want to watch, but anyways, so this is like a pretty long project, right? And I don't expect you guys to know everything inside it, but I hope you guys can recognize some some um some things here, right? So this is called an event listener. You guys don't need to know what that means. You guys don't know what that means, probably, but it just but I just want to say it. And then see, look, so logger, that's a different thing. So var channel, you can see that, but you guys know what that means. If no channel, so that means if there isn't, if channel isn't, so yeah, if there isn't a channel, right, that's just a way to say it, right? So constant mindset, that's declaring that's declaring a variable. Actually, it's not declaring a variable, my bad. So if you want to require a certain library, we do const this to require mindset, const this to require this, etc. Yeah, event listeners, yes, thank you, Socket. Event listeners are used when making Discord bots. There are other uses. It's a very general thing, but yes, it's also used when making Discord bots. And yeah, see, yeah, so yeah, this client on ready. So when it's ready, this client Yeah, okay, etc. And yeah, so this is, as you can see, it's declaring an array, another array, bar, and this is a function. You guys probably don't know what this is used for actually, but yeah. So there's another more event listeners. See, this is a set interval function. I didn't go over this, but you can probably Google it for yourself. It's an asynchronous function which is timed. Okay, and so there's another var. If you guys don't, yeah. So toString. Remember, I think you call that. It's a for loop, pretty small for loop. It's only a one-liner. Go over here. These are const functions. We didn't go over these either. Sorry about that. But yeah. And then see, look, you can see a catch. This is a catch. It's not the same type of catch, but yeah. And see, these are another if statements. You don't know. It's probably actually you do know because this, these are variables, and it's checking if it's equal to that. And this is declaring, right? And these are a lot of if statements and else statements. Dot push is for arrays, right? Etc. There's a lot of stuff here, which it's pretty advanced. Oh, yeah, these are all Discord things, etc. So thank you guys for listening. That's that's JavaScript, and if you guys have any other questions, you can ask them. Otherwise, you can the slides. Please. Okay, yeah, sure. I think these are public. Let me make sure they are.
Okay, thank you for joining. Our next workshop will be C++, and this is recorded, so if you guys missed some of it, you guys will get it later.
Yeah, I just posted these slides in the chat. I think socket will be uploaded to the what is it? The Discord, right?